Hereby open Board of Selectmen meeting February 25th, 2019. It is a very windy 6 p.m. at the Rutland Public Library. We therefore have a huge crowd. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. He's here.
Hey.
Motion to sign Treasury Warrant 18.
So moved.
And second? Oh, thank you. And payroll? Abby? Mike?
Yes.
Yes. Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Motion to accept minutes from February 11th. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. I assume Wayne will abstain from that one. You're all set, Wayne. You weren't there anyway.
All right, good.
We're going to go straight into our appointments for 6 p.m. We have Rebecca Tuttle here, our treasurer collector, with the IAC recommendations for FY20. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if I need to do that or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. So the IAC Insurance Advisory Committee, we met on, where's my notes? February 13th. As you may have heard, we currently, the town uses Fallon for health insurance. The estimated increase for Fallon was coming in at a 14% increase for FY20. So in working with Brian Boyle, who is our healthcare consultant through the Boyle Group, we actually went out to bid and to get quotes from different carriers. Tufts declined to quote because they didn't think they could be competitive with the size of our groups. We have about 52 people that are eligible. The Fallon renewal actually came in at 14.2%. We received a quote from Harvard Pilgrim, which was about a 9.3% increase. And we received a quote from Maya, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield. Maya is the government grouping insurance
Massachusetts interlocal,
with a 0.48% increase. So within that is matching the plans and the existing copays and everything that we have existing right now. So the IAC discussed and made sure that this does include the senior plans, which normally renew in January. So we would have to switch over our retirees that are on the plan. This is all for July 1. It comes out to be, like, we were looking at about a $130,000 increase to put the dollars in perspective with the Fallon rates that were coming in. This brings the increase down to about $54,000 based on our enrollment right now. We'll start doing, we may see some fluctuation in that based on what plans people pick. But it's about a 7.64 increase from last year over this year, which we were looking at about 18%. So, and this doesn't change any of the plans. In discussing the options with the Insurance Advisory Committee, they were all for just taking the 5%, a 0.5% increase instead of the bigger one. So we will have to have a 2-year commitment with Maya. So in the second year, which is what we did for Fallon when we switched to Fallon as well, in the second year, you will get the middle of the range for their increase. So that's this year. I don't know if I have that information, but their increases were like 0 to about 10%. So we'd probably get a 5% increase if it was this year. So, but next year you're committing to stay with them for 2 years. So. The IAC voted to recommend, also our dental insurance, which we actually have through Maya as well. We saw last year we had a 2.72% decrease in their rates, and this year we're looking at a 5.07 decrease as well. So
nice.
The dental, I don't know if that's because we're bringing on the health insurance or not, but it can't hurt. So we're keeping the flexible spending plan at $100. The town pays $150 towards anybody who enrolls in the flexible spending plan, which helps with copays for their insurances and stuff like that. So the IAC then voted to recommend to you to go with the Maya Blue Cross Blue Shield plan at the 4.8% increase, keeping the plans exactly as they are. So they are a board that we vote. It has a committee, a member from every single bargaining unit, and the
non-union.
unrepresented, and the a retiree on it. So it's a good representative of the town. So they voted to recommend that to the board, and the board is the end-all decision as to whether we go with Maya or not. So I need a motion from the board to accept their recommendation to use Maya for our insurance for FY20.
And you just said 4.8, but you meant 0.48, right?
Yes.
0.48, yeah, sorry.
48%.
So many numbers.
In the past, the town's been with Maya, and the administration of it's been okay. It was just the percentage increase.
Correct. Yep. But we've been with Fallon for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. And the reason we switched to Fallon, excuse me, was we were looking at it like, I think it was a 10 to 12% increase from Maya, and they weren't budging on reducing that at all. And we did get a better rate from Fallon. So we made the switch. I mean, I think that's common practice. And we did present the rates that we got to Fallon, and Fallon could only come back with the 14.9%. So they couldn't reduce the rate anymore. They did say that we had a large number of larger claims this year, and that was what brought the rate up. So.
I will say, too, just based on the meeting that we had with the IAC, that when we switched over to Fallon, we basically redesigned a plan that fit what Maya had previously offered to us.
Correct.
Where here, we didn't have to go through a special plan design because it was mirroring what we took from Maya, gave to Fallon, and now it's just going back to Maya. Even the limited plan that is an option for employees, the only difference between the limited and the advanced plan is that the limited is restricted to doctors in Massachusetts, and the advanced plan is restricted to doctors in New England. So that's really the only difference between the major and the minor plan, is that one is just restricted to doctors in state. So even that didn't need any large wiggle room there either.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, we need to come up with, is it $54,000?
It's about a $54,000 increase over last year's number.
Which
So
is
that's
a lot better than the $134,000 increase that we expected.
So what's the plan where's that going to come from?
Next year's operating budget.
Okay.
It's part of the reason why we're still looking at about $250,000 deficit that everybody's trying to work through. Becky, in your budget, which I don't have in front of me, how have you been carrying anticipated employees, if that makes sense? So when you worked this number into your budget, were there anticipated slots that you...
This one does not include any additional room for somebody coming on.
It doesn't?
The reason, I kind of talked to Mike a little bit about that, the reason I was doing that, because like he was saying, this limited plus plan is quite a bit less expensive, which, as you can see, where it's different than Fallon. Fallon had a select plan and a direct plan. The direct plan, you had to go to Reliant Doctors, and you had to go to the St. Vincent's. You couldn't go to UMass Doctors. So if you had those doctors, we didn't have many people on that plan because a lot of people in this area, our employees, use UMass Doctors. With these plans, the limited network is your doctor most likely will take it, and so the employees will save money, but the town will save money as well. So I think we're going to have more people in the less expensive plan, so that which will save the town money and will save the employee money. So I think this number here will be good because I'm
Okay. So you think during open enrollment we're going to see a lot of people...
take the lesser expensive plan because they're going to get the same coverage. It's going to be the same. It's the same copays. It's the same, all the everything's the same except you can't have
Go
a
out of
doctor
state.
in Vermont or New Hampshire. So that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
So I feel comfortable using the $770
Yeah,
$1,000,
that
which doesn't
seven-
build in an
I'm
extra
sorry.
person here and there.
Yeah, that 770 is if everyone chooses the advanced plan, then there's no room for an addition. But if anyone chooses the limited plan,
Yep.
then there'll be room left over there. That's just in case everyone decides that they want the plan that allows them to go to New Hampshire and Vermont.
I kept the enrollment exactly the same as it is right now with the, like we have, I don't know if it's on here. We have, let me do a quick math, 45 people that are enrolled in the Fallon Select Plan and only 5 that are in the Direct Plan. So if that switches the other way, we're going to see a lesser amount of money. It's going to save the town money. So, and that will, of course, my plan is not to reduce the budget again because we'll have capacity in case somebody loses their insurance, we can take them on. So.
Okay. Okay.
But again, we're not voting on the budget here.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
I know,
So
I'm just curious.
if
Those were
something, in
curiosity
open
questions.
enrollment, I have like 10 people decide to come on our insurance, then I'll be back to the
Square one.
square one, so. But that's the risk you take with health insurance, you've got to,
I mean, health insurance generally has increases every year, so
Correct.
I think a 0.5% increase is phenomenal.
right, I
mean,
think
like-
I think last year, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think we were at 600 and something thousand for total budget, and we went up to 716, so it's consistently each year $50,000 to $100,000,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you for all
That's-
your work with it, and
Mm-hmm.
please tell the IAC also, thank you for,
Right. I mean, last year we did have to tweak the plan to
Yeah.
keep it to, I think it was a 2.2% increase last year. So, and we had to change some of the co-pays. So this is no changes to that. And so we're keeping that the same for the employees and
Yeah.
getting a lesser increase than we were going to.
Yeah. The
that all sounds good.
to add someone onto our dental plan currently it's about $400 a person. To add someone onto our health plan, it changes depending on what the person's benefits are. It's ballpark $30,000 a person to add
That's
to health
30,000
insurance.
is total.
Is
That would
total,
be-
okay.
Yeah, that would be everything.
Yeah,
And that's an individual.
yeah,
That would take health insurance, life insurance, dental insurance. They're coming on our retirement and that type of stuff. So it's about a $30,000 cost.
Thank you.
This looks great. They were happy to go back to Blue Cross. Blue
Yeah,
Cross
actually,
New
some of them
England.
were, yeah, yep, because Fallon has been good and they've been covering, issues that we've had here and there, but it's Blue Cross, that's
Yeah.
kind of like a standard around here, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're happy to switch. Just, you'll be looking for we'll be having I have a meeting with them, a transition meeting on March 5th to kind of go over how it's going to happen. We're probably going to do a health fair on May 8th is our tentative date for that, which is, we'll have all the employees in. Going to try to have county retirement there as well.
Great.
The Mass Smart Plan and all of our benefit representatives will be there to hopefully, we did it a couple years ago.
Yeah. I remember.
And it went really well, so we're trying to, if you do it every year, it's overkill, so we're doing it again this year while we're switching. So.
Awesome.
It's
I'll make a
fantastic.
motion that the board accept the IAAC recommendation for the fiscal year 20 employee benefits to go to Maya Blue Cross.
Second?
No more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
All right, we are back into open session and we're going straight into public comment. Step right up, Peter.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Good evening. My name is Peter Crane, as you all know, and I am the newly elected chairman of the Ad hoc Bylaw Committee. I am here to discuss with you the charter for the committee you all voted on, and that it is, for lack of a better phrase, fundamentally broken.
Good start, Peter. Thank
Okay?
you.
Well, it's make a point, right?
Wow.
What the charter says is that on May 11th, the Ad hoc Bylaw Committee disappears to be taken over by a committee that can't take over on May 11th
or May 12, even
Fair
if anybody
enough.
wanted it to. And that it also presumes that the codification will be complete and presented at the town meeting. And having had one meeting being nearly in March, I can tell you that's not going to happen.
So bottom line, we need to just amend dates, yes?
We just, and in fact, I have if you all will allow me, a fast proposal. Now, I know that Mike has sent out a mildly different charge without realizing that there is already a formal charge by the committee, but, and so this, I did up myself this weekend without benefit of reading his.
Yeah.
But what it fundamentally says is, come May 11 town meeting, the ad hoc bylaw committee will present to town meeting a bylaw for a permanent committee. The ad hoc committee's work continues until the formation of the permanent bylaw committee, at which time all the work product will be turned over to the permanent committee.
Yeah, talking to Peter directly before this meeting started, when I sent out the letters to inform those that had been appointed to the bylaw committee, that had the correct information and an amended charge on it. This one that you see before you is one that Bob Reed put together while he was still here, and then another one was that I wrote was later basically sent out. Basically, the only difference is that the one that I put together stated that the committee will continue to work up until the bylaw that creates the official bylaw committee that is approved by the Attorney General's office, and then the board will reappoint at that time to an official committee. Basically taking, appoint to the official committee. Basically taking the discussion that we had and the amendments that were made in the discussion on the appointments to the ad hoc bylaw committee. I wrote those down because they were amendments to the charge as were made, because we increased the number from 5 to 7, and we made those other amendments that it would continue till there. So that was sent out in the letters that went out there. So it's just a difference of which email and which letter was looked at that time. So my opinion is that the board approved those changes to the charge at the meeting where the 7 were appointed, and it was just written down and sent with the letters that went out to notify the appointees. So I can send those to Peter and clarify them, and Peter and I talked about that prior to this as well. The charge did say that the only thing that had to be turned in for town meeting was the bylaw that creates the official bylaw committee. Everything else was just to be done as the ad hoc committee that would then be taken over by the official committee. And it did clarify too that anyone who's a member of the ad hoc committee would have to resubmit an application in order to be appointed to the official committee once that gets accepted by the Attorney General's office.
Where's the language from what we approved? Which one is the language that we had originally approved?
Originally approved is the strikeout portion on that
Yes.
paper.
That was the one that you approved when Bob was still here.
Yes.
The whole thing on this paper, including the strikeout.
The first 2 paragraphs plus the strikeout were what were originally approved. The last paragraph is my suggestion for a replacement of the struck-out paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can send you a copy of the one that was based off of the day that we had the appointment meeting.
Which is not this one.
No.
Okay. So you've got one, he's got one, Bob had one, we had one. We're gonna make some changes to it. Bottom line, we have some time.
Right.
On May 11th, at this point, we expect to have a bylaw to create a bylaw committee, we hope.
Yes.
Codification will continue.
Yes.
Okay. And we did know about, obviously, approval with the Attorney General's office, and that's gonna change your dates a little bit. Okay, so we won't count this as first reading, but what we'll do is take all the copies, right? Put them all together and.
Put them all together to make something
Perfect.
that really works.
And none of this is going to delay your work in any way, I would think.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, okay.
No, we're
right.
meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for your work thus far. And we'll get this all straightened out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
there anyone else here for public comment? No, it doesn't look like it. Next, Joe Buckley.
Move along.
Moving along. How goes it today?
Good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's hectic. It's Monday. You know, it was windy. We had a lot of crazy stuff going on, but all in all, it's going well.
Okay.
Like things you'd expect on a Monday.
Really? 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts? Just
It's New England.
okay.
I have some notes. I'm just going to review. They're intended to just give you some basic snippets of things we've been doing in Public Works, not every little detail. So once I get through all of those, you can ask me some questions, but I'm going to reserve water and sewer rate discussions for the last thing we talk about. All right?
Okay.
Regarding streets or street operation, we've had a lot of small sanding events where we sand a lot or put a lot of salt down. I'm sure you've seen us out there. Not a lot of plowing, actual plowing events. We were joking we'd actually like to see real snow and not ice and rain. To that end, we've gone through a lot of material, and that's the bulk of where the money we've spent on snow and ice control has been to purchase sand and salt. We hope to start filling some potholes as early as the end of this week. We've had a lot of complaints around town regarding gravel roads, though they're going to lag behind because there's still a significant amount of frost in the ground. Wachusett, I met with representatives from DCR because they're involved in the dam, which is holding up the project. I met with at the same meeting we had I guess I should backtrack, I'm sorry. As you all know, Wachusett is a tip job. I think it's FY22.
Yep.
And what's holding, there is some concern that about the dam at Moulton Pond. And the two agencies in question is you've got DCR, whose Office of Dam Safety, and then you have
DOT.
basically Mass DOT through the federal funding, and the CMRPC who are doing the funding for the tip, which is like $4.1 million. The Office of Dam Safety doesn't want the road project to go through until the dam has been repaired. Initial dam repair estimates are at $2 million. Our consulting engineer who worked on the roadway design came up with grants for $500,000. The same consultant was able to get all the parties in the room, which was DCR, CMRPC, Mass DOT, and we all batted around ideas to try and come up with the best plan to attack the dam issue. That was towards the end of last week. DCR, to our benefit, is still having the dam inspected regularly. That's
On their dime.
because they simply can't assign ownership. If they were able to assign ownership to the town, we'd be on the hook for that inspection, and that's not necessarily cheap. So Tie and Bond Engineers has been doing that work. I met with them in the field this week, and they sent me all of the paperwork they have compiled to date. The most concerning is they have reports from two licensed engineers who say there should be weight limits placed on that roadway. I'm still researching that. I talked to Mass DOT as recently as today about that, because most often when you do weight restrictions, it's for bridges. And it's a culvert, it's really not a bridge. But if it is a public safety issue, I'm going to recommend strongly that we go forward with weight restrictions until it's been repaired. I think the conversations between myself, Tie and Bond, and the engineer we have for the dam are still positive. We may be able to get that $2 million down and possibly modify the design. I simply don't know yet.
Just as a quick aside, just to clarify what Joe said, there is a question as to whether the town, DCR, or a local developer owns the culvert. And dam, yes. So until that can be determined, DCR is paying for all the inspections to be done on that bridge. Dam, not bridge. My apologies.
Can I come back
And a
back
local
to
developer?
Or we're not sure which one yet.
What does it matter?
Do you want to ask any questions? I can hold. Go ahead, please.
No, I was
Do I have to do
wondering-
questions through the chair, or can you just go back and forth?
The chair's very open to just having them ask you.
I'm just trying to respect procedure.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
I was just wondering if, given that there's unsure ownership, if that's ever going to come back to bite the town, if it's determined that if the town owns it, will DCR say?
own it.
We don't own it.
Skip knows that we don't own
Yeah,
it.
we don't own it. Just trust me, we do not own it.
No, I don't think we own it.
No.
Okay.
Have there been discussions
I thought
about
so.
filling, basically breaking up the dam?
Of course.
Make it a brook.
Of course they have.
Okay. How much would that cost?
I don't have a number for
We
you.
don't
off
know
the top
that
of my
yet.
head. No.
Is that even on the table?
Sure, but that's more of, I would just caution you that that would end up back with this body.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to, that becomes a planning issue. And you have to deal with the folks who consider that an aesthetic or some recreational benefit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a discussion for engineering or the roadway itself. That's where that conversation would end up.
Okay. So it's not a conversation that DCR initiated, as they have in other parts of the state?
Right.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Any other questions
So
on
that's
that one?
not one of the options they're looking at.
It's on the table. It's just we're trying to figure out which thing on the table to pick from.
So at this time, both the culvert and the dam require some repair
Or out-and-out replacement.
or replacement. And,
The culvert is definitely a replacement.
okay,
The
Yes.
dam is going to have to be secured.
okay.
And we're short $1.5 million to do it right.
To do it right.
Does the culvert require the same diameter that it's at now?
No. It would be much bigger to do it right.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Okay. When will we know more?
We should know more in a couple weeks.
Okay.
The fact that we got all the players to the table, I think, is good.
If we had to do a weight restriction, what are you talking about?
Size of trucks that can go over the road.
Yeah, what would the limit be?
Yeah.
I'd have to get you that. I don't have it off the top of my
So
head.
possibly the 18-wheeler
Yep.
type? Okay. Okay.
And that's only to make sure that it doesn't continue to fail more.
Okay.
So the timeline for the tip is still in jeopardy.
Correct. But we had all the parties at the table. That doesn't mean the tip couldn't be modified. We couldn't make other changes. The only thing that's holding us up is the Office of Dam Safety has strongly has required that dam and culvert be repaired before the road project in that location goes forward.
Does all the work need to be complete before the tip can continue? Does that make sense? Every piece of it, the dam and the culvert, full replacement, repair, all the work complete?
I think that the parties involved consider them two separate and distinct projects. The original project called for a replacement or a repairs to the culvert as part of the roadway job.
Okay.
That's come off the table.
That's
They're now
come off the table?
They're two separate projects.
Okay.
They removed that from the tip? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
No, that wasn't how to explain it. So the original tip called for repairs to the culvert as the road went by.
yep.
The proposal submitted by the town.
And what came back is that was the DCR, the Office of Dam Safety, didn't consider that adequate. And the repair to the dam is separate and distinct from the roadway itself. Does that answer your question?
Repair to the dam or repair to the culvert or both?
Both. Because,
Okay.
and I guess normally when you see a standalone dam, you've got, there's a pipe at the bottom to, a low level,
Yep.
and there's a spillway. You don't have either of those at this particular dam. You have the spillway that goes into a culvert, and that's why they're linked and they're different from what you would typically see. Does that better
So-
explain it?
Yeah.
Are they considering basically the dam and culvert as one combined?
One continuous structure, yes.
Yes.
Because, yeah,
And then the tip project is separate, but not including those.
Right.
Those need
those need to be
attention
repaired.
before.
If we didn't even have the tip and didn't go forward with the road, somebody would still be on the hook for making those repairs.
What has been discussed thus far for funding sources? So we're sitting on $500,000, you said?
Yep.
Yes.
And that's,
That's a DCR grant and that's finite.
okay.
The only thing that we're currently looking at is getting the timeline of that extended so that that money doesn't run out.
So it doesn't expire before we use it.
How does any of that happen if you haven't determined true ownership?
I wish I could answer that question.
The ownership question is really recent.
Oh,
For
so everything's contingent on determining the ownership, correct?
Well, I would agree with you, except the dam and the culverts sit in the right-of-way. and the town is in control of the right-of-way. The right-of-way was originally taken by by Worcester County. It's an old Worcester County layout, and that was turned over to the town. So the bulk of the work is within the town's right-of-way. To that end, we would end up running point.
So
I agree with you,
No
it would
matter
be-
who the owner was, we would still have right to do it.
We'd still have some involvement because it's under our road. By means of example, if you have drainage under any town road, it really does fall to us.
Right. So how's ownership gonna be determined? I mean, what's the process for figuring that out?
I don't think there's a clear answer. I think you'd end up hiring an engineer and a law firm to do a title search.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that that would come out in your favor.
No, I mean, if we look at what's going on at Eagle Lake, which is actually very similar up in Holden, that's kind of going nowhere fast.
You could spend a lot of money and have,
Nothing answered.
correct.
Yeah.
What do you recommend? What are you asking for us?
I'm not asking for anything. I frankly, I just wanted to put the board on notice that there are some issues with the tip, and this could hold up the project.
I mean,
I remain hopeful that we can, I sat there with the engineers from DCR, the engineers they hired, Ty and Bond, the engineer that's associated with the tip who did the dam design, myself, Mass DOT. I think you get enough of us around a table, maybe we can come down with that number. Get
Yeah.
that 2 million down
The
to,
This is more just like an update, just so you know, we're gonna have something dealing with this later on.
Nothing for us to do right now.
So just to be clear, we have about $500,000. It expires if we don't use it, unless
Right.
we can change that. When
but
does it
we're
expire?
pretty confident, based on the DCR representation we had at the meeting, that they're gonna work with us on that.
Okay. Is there room anywhere in the tip for amendments in order to cover this? Is that on the table as well?
I don't believe so, no.
We'd have to cut something out of the current tip project.
We have to
do
cut
that.
something out of the tip, okay. So the easy solution here is somebody handing us $1.5 million. Where do we find that?
Believe it or not, everyone in the room asked me that. Doesn't the town have that?
Right.
I said,
I'm
no.
sure they asked. Yeah.
They did ask.
They did, for real? You're not
They really asked.
joking?
Absolutely, I'm not kidding.
Okay. Okay. So their
Um,
initial solution was, why don't you just pay for the rest?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Again, this is just meant to be an update.
Yes.
I do believe that we can get that number down. It's just going to be a matter of time.
Okay. I think we need to take a long look at the state bond bills and see timeline-wise if we need to start working at the state level to get that money somewhere, or at least a portion of it. If you think you can get it down a bit, we're still looking at being short $1 million. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay.
But I'd wait a couple weeks. I want to see how it plays
Yeah.
out, frankly.
Pretty sure the state won't write us a check in the next 2 weeks, so we're probably good.
No, probably not.
All right. Thank you.
I wish it was better, but I have to at least tell you
Well-
where it's at.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
It's good to know now versus when it's ready to start and suddenly can't start.
And suddenly you can't start, and suddenly they throw us off the tip.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's, what was the town that came off of the tip? Was it Millbury?
Yes.
So the whole list is going to get shuffled and we could get moved up.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on how this culvert issue goes.
I still question why we would end up paying for it if DCR actually owned it. Why wouldn't they pay for it?
I don't think there was a question about DCR owning it, no.
Oh, I thought that was the original statement.
Well, that was the original question that was asked, is which one of the three owns it, and now we're pretty sure it's DCR's out of the equation, but we don't have that official
Okay,
title.
so it's back to just the two.
Yeah, it's the two, whoever owned the land originally and the roadway.
All right, so we know where that's gonna go. All
Okay.
right, my question's
Thanks.
answered.
Okay, so back to my list.
Yeah.
Potholes, like I said, we're going to start hopefully the end of this week. Vehicles, I recently developed a list of all the equipment we have at DPW and what we do with it, and tried to assemble somewhat of a capital plan. We have a couple vehicles down at this time. Just a quick update, because I know you asked. The signboard needed new batteries. They were original to 2013 and had to be replaced. That was done today. You should see the signboard back up in a couple days. We couldn't get it out there today. It was just too windy.
The batteries lasted 5 years.
It's the best we got.
Wow.
Well, we got a meeting on Wednesday. We get something out there tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we can get something out there tomorrow.
Great.
Water, we're in good shape. We haven't had any major issues at this time. Sewer, we had a couple locations that lost service since the last time we had a meeting. One was a town problem, one was a local problem. Drainage, we are going to apply for one of those culvert grants. Probably Turkey Hill Road. It's going to be for engineering services and possibly some specifications, but I don't anticipate the work will get done this construction season. We started to do a review of the SWMP.
Stormwater management plan, if you didn't get that.
And the only person really doing the review of the stormwater management plan is me, so it's going to take a little while. Lights, the street lights, I recently talked to National Grid, and they're going to try and get us some numbers as to what we could do about possibly upgrading the fixtures. And that may ultimately save us some money. Go ahead,
May
please.
I ask a question?
Sure.
If saving money turns us into what Holden has, I'm gonna say hard pass on that, because those lights are blinding at night. I don't think they were meant to be in the fixtures that they're in, or were meant to be used in the way that they're being used, which is completely the length of 122A. They're blinding.
If I
Go ahead.
so at my previous position, we had just switched over with National Grid to the upgrades. National Grid does provide you with a spectrum, and you choose where on the
what you want,
spectrum you
yeah.
fall. So you can choose hospital white or amber, and then fall anywhere in between if you want. So if you want hospital white, you can get hospital white. But if you want a happy medium in the middle too, you can get there. There's a dial on every light fixture, so it all depends on where you turn that dial is the shade of white that you get in the lights.
I don't know. If you drive through Holden, it's really
What
something.
I don't know is if Holden actually purchased the lights outright and then made the upgrades on their own.
Holden Municipal Light, it's hard to imagine that they wouldn't have.
So our lights are currently owned by National Grid.
Yeah.
And what we're asking for a proposal for is to
Okay.
keep the ownership in National Grid's hands and just give us a proposal on upgrading the fixtures.
Okay.
We'll see what that comes in at. It's possible if we were to purchase the lights outright and do our own upgrades that we could save a little bit more money, but I didn't think it was worth it to get into the light maintenance business. So we're gonna see what it comes back at.
Yeah, I mean, we've had years of discussions of couldn't we just turn off the lights to save some money this year? Because I think it was $40,000, but it turns out it costs money to turn them off, and then it
It
costs
does.
money to turn
Turn
them
them
on,
back on
and so
again.
we've always just said, no.
Yeah.
But I think the administrator is correct. I think we could get the right fixtures to match what we need.
Okay.
It's just that if we switch over to like an LED versus the sodium ones we have now, I think we'll save money in the long run.
Okay.
We'll just make sure we pick the right spot, the right shade in the spectrum of light. Because I do agree with you. If you get too white, you get calls from people complaining that the light's coming into their rooms at night, they can't sleep, things like that. And you don't
Unless, the only other question I would have is if someone from the board felt that strongly about us taking over the lighting. I'm reluctant to go down that road.
No.
All right.
Not at this time.
So, back to water and sewer rates. I've sent out a lot of material. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to review it. Probably the best one to have is this one that says, Town of Rutland, Massachusetts Water and Rate Study Options for Rate Changes FY 2019 through FY 24. It's roughly 3 pages. That was compiled by our consulting engineer, Weston and Sampson, and the sub they hired, the Abrams Group, to do the water and sewer rate study. That's probably the one that tells the best picture. You need me to do a synopsis as to why we're at that point, or do you want me to show you what the document is, or? I'm just gonna sneak up.
Where is that, Becky? Adam?
I don't have it.
No, I think that's you, right?
yes, I did send that out too.
And this all went out?
Yes.
All right.
Which one is that
I
one?
don't think we have it.
It's, I don't think it's printed. It's in your email. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's no.
Well, that's all right.
So you can speak to it.
I will
So
do the
I-
best I can.
I just want to make sure I have the right one. So I have a forward, Rutland Sewers. This was your email that went out about a week ago. It was your it was your correspondence with DCR, which actually looked very complete and positive.
It's the attachment to that email from a week
Is
ago.
it that?
I believe so.
No.
Yeah.
This was right at the tail end of the last selectmen's meeting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That,
I got this walking into the meeting. I actually couldn't see it on my phone to be able to give it to you.
And is it Abrams Group? No.
It's about, what, 27 pages long?
No, it's just 3 pages.
Hmm.
It lays out 3 basic options.
But you did send it out?
I did. Yes.
I sent it to Mike and asked him to send it to the group, which is,
What date?
Give us a keyword here we can search on, Mike.
I'm checking it now.
February 6th, maybe?
I looked at that one.
Water and sewer, hello all.
Maybe.
well, anyways, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead.
Yep.
Just to review, before I took over, the previous administrator and the previous superintendent of public works had got together with Weston Sampson to prepare a water and sewer rate study.
Mm-hmm.
Not long after I got here, I got a very high sewer bill from DCR that spoke to excessive flows coming from Rutland. And I put the water and sewer rate study on the front burner and met with Weston Sampson by phone and in person a couple times. And the concern is that we're not going to be able to properly fund the sewer utility, at least for the balance of this year. Now, that's predicated on a couple things. It assumes that we're going to continue to have high groundwater-related flows, and that we're when I say predicated, a couple things. Again, high groundwater-related flows, and the fact that we don't have enough in sewer retained earnings to recover from what we have going on, like this last quarter. So when I met with the Abrams Group and Weston Sampson, I asked them to say, well, how much are we looking at in real numbers? And they said we could be as much as 350 in the hole, 350,000 by the end of the fiscal year for the sewer enterprise. Some of that's worst case scenario. I mean, they extrapolated flows, but basically we just won't be able to pay all the bills. So when I met with Weston Sampson and the Abrams Group, they had made a couple suggestions, and that's what that document you're looking for is. And basically, there's 3 options. Now, they originally sent me spreadsheets and all kinds of information, and I said, that's really not going to help us. We need something that's more straightforward. So they laid out 3 basic options for rate increases to cover the deficit and rate increases to keep the utility running. And I'm recommending the last one that they focused on, which basically combines the two enterprise accounts and allows us to take some of the retained earnings from water to cover the deficit. And then long-term, we're going to have to raise rates, but that'll control how much the rates go up. I mean, some of the numbers they have here are, I can just, if you haven't read it, increase flow-based rate by 200% as soon as possible. Well, I don't think that's realistic. I can just hand you this and you can have a quick look. This is the one I'm looking at right there.
Can I just take a picture of it?
Sure. Well, I think you want to look at the numbers, though.
This was option which one?
This is the first
The
option.
first option.
Is that the one from the Abrams Group?
Yeah, yeah.
That's February 5th
So,
email. Or the
so your
6th.
current,
February
the
5th?
rate changes would
6th.
impact sewer bills as noted below. Current yearly bill is $713. FY19 total bills, if the II charges increase, the rate increase, it would still go up to $1,038. That,
$320 increase.
yes, just to cover the deficit and put us back where we need to be. All these do is lay out what the bills would look like for most of the homes in town.
Yeah.
So you'd have option 1, option 2, and option 3. Obviously, there's like 9 different variations you can go with, but again, I'm suggesting 3.
3.
Can I see that again, Joe?
Absolutely.
So,
Here we go. I will resend this out now.
so this one here, this is what you recommend, right?
Right.
So take those.
No,
You confused me.
No, this is option 1.
all right, this is
So.
Which one?
the last one.
All right, we'll take those. We'll take those.
Just to clarify, when I talked to folks from Weston Sampson and the Abrams Group,
You
I asked
resending
them
it?
to keep their reports in draft form until we could figure out the best direction to go in. So these are all based on draft numbers. There's nothing been finalized yet.
15%, 1.5 increase. And then 10% for water, so is that together, 25%?
Yep. You see what you got. This is what your current yearly bill is. This is what it will go up to for sewer. This is your current yearly bill for water. This is what it will go up to.
Yeah, okay. That's the best of the options we
We
got?
did send it via email, so we have it.
Okay. That's the best of the options of
Those are
all.
the best of the options.
And,
Current yearly bill, 713. FY 2020, 792.
and legally, it was okay, it turned out to be okay to combine the water and sewer enterprises? Because that was one of those questions, right? That whether they could be combined or not, wasn't it?
I believe so, but Mike was gonna kick that.
Good at 3.
Okay,
Just to double check.
okay,
The consultant said it was okay, but at the same time, I asked him to give it to the town's council.
yeah. I just thought that was one of our questions, so.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear.
No, no,
Oh, yeah.
All right,
if water
anything
and
back
sewer
yet?
enterprises could be combined into one.
They can. It probably need to be a vote at town meeting just because they had to vote to create the enterprise accounts.
Okay.
But we're still waiting to hear back from legal on that one.
So the typical household's looking at $112 increase in water and sewer.
That's, you can keep going down there too. There's water.
And I know you touched on this, Joe, and
Sure.
I'm sorry, but this,
Can I tell you, this is like an issue like this.
I know,
I'm trying to funnel it down, it's not,
you're doing a good job.
all right.
This would help alleviate the current deficit and provide for if we saw another wet year, or like, is what these rates would
Yeah,
increases
the
would.
rates include a couple things that I didn't want to put in there because it would just cloud the document. But
That's-
they include some borrowed money for capital expenditures to be spent on equipment and more importantly, the system entire. And the goal is to retain as much as 20 to 25% of retained earnings in both accounts going forward. So you have something in place to cover that as well.
So if the accounts are combined, then that would be
Thank you.
still 20 to 25% each? Okay, so,
Right. You'd still operate them separately.
yeah, okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't blame you, but it is hand I was dealt.
Aside from what the options are in general, I would like to say that this has been something that Joe's been doing a ton of work on. So at least from my side, I just want to say thanks to Joe
Yeah.
on it. I think this is something that we got, I want to say it was my third day here, so you were a week and a half in.
Yeah,
And this was the first thing that we
jumped into.
here. And Joe's just been nonstop with it. Granted, he comes from a water sewer background, so it kind of helps that we have someone like that. there,
Yeah.
but-
Yeah,
Well, you did.
I don't know that we could adequately express, I mean, the amount of data that we're getting for a problem that's been in existence for a very long time before you got here. This is amazing, and you're right, it's a lot to process, but we'll get there.
And I think you do a good job giving us it in a digestible format. Like, you know, we have questions, but it's not.
What option is the worst case scenario?
Option
Number
one.
Let me take a look. Let me take a look, see here.
Option one is
So
terrifying.
Just so you understand, the bulk of the sewer charges come from the treatment at the Upper Blackstone, the maintenance of the system, which DCR charges us for, and of course, the charge to go through Worcester. Now, the charge that the Upper Blackstone charges you, it's an assessment, it's the same number every single quarter. That doesn't move. The number that, you know, that DCR charges us to be able to flow through Worcester, that goes up and down based on the type of numbers we're producing. So that basically the more flow we send down the line, at the meter at the town line, the more we have to pay Worcester. This last fall was one of the highest we've ever had. And by means of example, for every 1 gallon we were billing for, we were getting billed for 3.5. And we just weren't taking in enough money to cover that kind of bill. The maintenance bill, that does go up and down, but basically what that is in plain English is DCR says, okay, we have to maintain that sewer from Rutland through Holden. You have to pay a portion of it to keep it up and running.
Mhm.
Charges for clearing easements, securing manholes, stuff like that. I have been chiding DCR a little bit because of two basic reasons. One, we are soon going to negotiate a new intermunicipal agreement between Rutland, Holden, or if Holden signs, and DCR and Worcester to basically transport our flows. That's, I think it's up in 2020. So I've been trying to set the stage for things we're concerned with that I think need to change in the document. And the other thing, because we have sewers in town we own, and there are sewers in town DCR owns, then there's the meter. And I've been after them to try and tell me where they're at with their own II. And I haven't got the best answers yet.
And you won't.
Yeah.
Probably.
You won't, because Gary used to try to do that all the time.
A lot of,
year.
yeah. Joe and I,
What
go
I
ahead.
can tell you is, though, the state, Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, requires anybody who runs a sewer system to do II work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
And they
DCR
are
is-
holding DCR's feet to task. Whether, they get a break, they get more time to do the work, or in this case, more time to report about what they've done, but they are still being asked to report.
Do you see anything being done?
No.
Joe and I were talking earlier today, and just basically, if we were held to the same standard that DCR is currently held at, it's not industry grade,
No.
correct? The pipes are 75 years old for their sewer line, plus or minus. Ours are younger than that.
Yeah.
It's just finding out where those extra 2/3 that we're getting billed for is coming from.
So it's possible that it's coming not so much, a little bit from our
It could be
town
us, too. It
owned,
could be us,
Yeah.
yes,
but,
Oh, we could be
but-
paying for
DCR.
something that's their responsibility.
part of it is,
Correct.
yeah.
but they still bill us for any work that they,
That's
is that,
right.
is
So
that
if they
my,
were to come in and fix and replace the pipes, we'd get the bill for that work that they did
Right.
in our town.
so we would have that big lump sum bill that's due, but then hopefully we would have the savings at the meter flow is the
Long-term.
hope,
Yep.
long-term,
No,
right?
you got
I
it
mean,
right.
okay,
So if you get that II number down,
right.
then you're basically billing the residents of the town for what you're actually using, yes, that number will get better for you.
Yeah.
Are we doing everything we can possibly do with DCR, lobbying, whatever, to try to get us the best possible
The
percentage representation?
Yes, Joe has been a very strong advocate for the town with regard to that with DCR. I had Representative Ferguson in my office today, who is setting up a meeting with the chief officials in DCR to meet with not only us but the other towns that are having similar issues with this, and basically do a roundtable discussion with those representatives
That's what I
there.
want to hear. Nice
Once we get that officially scheduled, we'll make sure you all are aware of when that is. If we have to post it so all 5 of you can be there, we can do that. But
But that's more of a long term.
that's
That's not
This
gonna
is
be
just what
the
we
stuff
have-
now.
exactly. Joe's solutions there are, we're in the hole now that we need to get out of before we drown. This is, how do we stop this from happening again in the future on
So,
our end?
Joe, I think my question to you is, options 1 and 2 are really painful for our ratepayers, right off the get-go.
They're conservative, yep.
And then they get better in the future, but it's one thing to say that to somebody that, don't worry, 2024, things will look up. They're not gonna care.
I couldn't do
It-
that one, no.
No, so I mean, it really limits us, I think, all things considered, to option 3 and taking a look at it. I think my question to you is, right now, these estimates look, I mean, no increase is good, but they look manageable. And I guess I'm wondering if we should take another look at least FY 2020 and on some debt, if you think you want to jumpstart this a little bit, if that makes sense.
I don't know if I understand.
So I'm looking at option 3. We're going to increase flow-based rate on water and sewer by 15%, right? 20, FY 20 through 24, and then for water, 10%. And we're just gonna incrementally keep going up, up.
Right.
Okay. The increases incrementally are actually quite manageable, I think. 713 to 792. It's not insignificant, but at least it's manageable. And the question is it so manageable and our problem is so big that we should jumpstart it in the first year in FY 2020 with additional I&I work?
Or like a balloon.
A balloon.
But you can't use that money towards recovering rates, because I asked that question.
True, but you might be able to use that money towards an I&I project that you didn't otherwise have. We're gonna have to work that in once we present it at town meeting, I guess is where I'm headed.
This is based on numbers I gave them.
Yeah.
So there are two numbers I gave them. I gave them 200,000 for sewer and 400,000 for water. And that's assuming you're doing that loan, and you're gonna do 200,000 a year, every year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's what that number's based on.
So you don't wanna do a balloon?
I'm sorry?
So you don't wanna do a balloon on the
No.
first? Okay. I
We're
had to
gonna
ask.
consistently spend it over time.
The second question I have for you is probably related to part 2 of your discussion, but I'll ask it now, because
Okay.
we'll get asked it at town meeting, which is, if we close the system versus leaving it open, what's better for the ratepayers?
I think you should leave the system open. I don't think you should close it. I think you should do a better job managing your sewer extensions and limit those. Limit things like sewer extensions and limit things like pump stations that developers are building, things like that.
Okay.
I think if you go forward with sewer construction, it should be something that someone petitioned for, because they're on a street that has 15 failed septic. I think I would leave the door open for that, regardless of where it is in town,
Okay.
for the long term, but I would stop the developers.
So to me, that sounds like closing the system to all but petitioned.
It goes back to the way the original, yeah,
Okay.
all the petition extensions.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't form a district, because I think you do the town people overall a disservice. I think I'm more inclined to leave it open to the petition, but not the developer.
We have a couple developers in town that put in their own sewer lines that then eventually tried to connect with the town ones, and that causes even further issues because then you have a force main attached to a force main, and it just, that on top of the other economic hits we're getting from the amount of development that we're seeing here, that also hits us on this side as well.
I hope that answers your question.
It does. I'm surprised at your answer, though. I think we've been talking a long time about closing the sewer district because of the topography of Rutland and how everybody needs to get up to our trunk line, which is one of the highest points in town.
The way the stuff that was written in the 40s is described, that does basically fall to the Water and Sewer Commissioners to make that determination, and how the money is spent for the town entire. So I think if you were to try and sewer somebody on the most part of the city, town, I'm sorry, it may be cost prohibitive, and you can make that determination.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. To me, the way Joe's described it and the process that he's just explaining, Joe actually went back and found 2 laws passed by the state legislature establishing Rutland's water service in 1891, and establishing Rutland's sewer service in 1941. That stipulates the board's job as the water and the sewer commissioners and explains the breakdown of all the roles and powers of and the duties of your role in that. So I thought that was neat that he went back that far and found that stuff. But
Can you get a copy of that?
that was emailed out today. Yeah, that was
Today?
emailed. Yeah, that was emailed today.
Too much going on today. I don't get emails today.
So yeah, there's some. He scanned it all, so it's in there from the old law books. But that process was described there, and I think there's a way to tie this into the entire managed growth discussion that's happening later on this week too.
Okay.
But I lost the rest of what I was going to say there because I was thinking of the email. But
Stuff on file,
yeah,
because I tried to figure out how they put sewers in Maple Ave, and the town had done it in the 50s, and it was done by petition, and people paid assessments, and the documents were there.
Wow.
yeah.
And I just verified them online.
Oh, that's what I was going to. It's almost similar to like if a street doesn't have like a cable service, you can petition the cable company, but how the cable company eventually gets that service to you is they'll charge each house on that street a percentage of the total cost to get the cable wire down that street. It's similar according to the law, what the process would be is if a street wants sewer added to it, the infrastructure cost then gets divvied up with the houses on the street type thing, and then you spread the costs out that way.
So in preparation for this, if we're gonna move forward with most likely option 3, something close to it, I know you said this is a draft and the numbers are a little bit malleable. I think we,
Yeah, they originally came with like 7 options,
yeah, I
or
remember.
15
Did you
options.
show
and
me that?
I was like, no, I just need 3.
It's too many.
Too many. We could do
The
this,
top
we
3. I think we concurrently, maybe at town meeting, I'm not sure about the timing of this, need to offer all of our users ways to proactively decrease their bills, which we probably haven't done for quite some time. I mean, every once in a while they get little notifications in their bills about, you know, how to reduce your water use and low flow toilets and things like that. This might be the time for us to say, look, we can't do a whole heck of a lot about costs down the line. They're going up, and here's the rate, and we can give them out to FY 2024. If that's the way we're going to go, great. We can really give them a bigger picture at the same time to try to figure out for them, you know, all the different ways that they can reduce their bill from their own usage side. Yes.
Yes, and I would at the same time link that to the green community stuff, because there's stuff in there for them as well.
Perfect.
So we ought to use that at the same time.
Okay.
And the other thing is, some of these out years could be subject for debate.
Okay.
They can be reviewed, they're not hard and fast. If
Right.
3 gets you out of the hole and sets up a capital program, but you don't necessarily have to continue with that 10% all the time.
And none of us might be here, so you'll have a whole different discussion to have with another group of people.
But
This is
you'll
very
be here.
All right.
I'll be here.
Moving right along.
You need to pay that bill. I would give some thought to that. I know it's painful, but we have to pay the bill. You can get back.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. Okay, so for tonight, do you feel like, how close are we to having a water sewer commissioners meeting with enough time for the public to be able to comment? And we'll set rates.
Aside from the board meeting, when could we,
Yep.
do you think we could
We have to
set
do a
up
public hearing, right? Like a,
Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with the process.
Oh, prior to town meeting on May 11th, a time to do a formal presentation to the public, similar like how the managed growth is doing Wednesday, as the board representing the Water Sewer Commission, not as the Board of Selectmen. So they need to have a separate meeting with the public, information session, pretty much.
It doesn't have to be separate if you don't want.
Yeah.
We can have it on a regular night, but we have to post as water sewer commissioners. We have to post this information session and allow the public to have some feedback on what some of the options are, so they know what's coming.
2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. And then, I hate PowerPoint, but this is probably a case for a few nice, pretty, colorful
Slide.
charts and slides, and we can get those up on this website and then,
We've got the screen right here too.
yeah. But then, that way we can extrapolate that out,
Yeah.
throw it on the website, get it onto cable.
We would like representation from our consultant. Anybody else?
You?
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Assumed.
Assumed. I
We
know.
can plan that with over the next 2-3 weeks to see what meeting we get on and what needs to be put together for that. And
Some things I would do in advance of that, and I'll talk to Weston Sampson maybe tomorrow or the next day. They're gonna have to produce a memo making a formal recommendation. I will ask them to recommend something along the lines of 3.
Okay.
Mhm.
And why.
Okay. In fairness, you could make that recommendation, you know we would most likely take
But
it,
I'm still
okay.
gonna ask them to do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Produce the document and then finalize the report.
Okay.
The only thing I think that could hold you up would be the legal.
Yeah, I think we'll have an answer soon on that.
Okay. All right.
Are there
I
any
think-
questions we're not asking that we should have asked? Did we cover?
so I think one thing that will come up in the information session is just make sure to talk about holding DCR accountable and the steps that the town is, working.
I feel like that'll come out.
Right,
Yeah.
but just to make sure that,
Should
because I'm
be
sure that's gonna come up.
Yeah, I feel like that'll come out more in the joint meeting that Representative Ferguson and Senator Goby are going to have
Yeah.
with us holding, and then possibly a couple other towns that are, because this isn't an only us problem.
Okay.
It's other towns in this area are having that too, so that's why they're hoping to have a joint meeting
Great.
somewhere.
The other thing with them is, they're gonna lean very heavily on the existing document, and they've honored the document.
Except Holden never signed it, so they can lean on it all they want, and Holden's not gonna.
Well, I
Yeah,
know that
but-
in the case of Rutland.
No, I know, we signed it.
we
I know.
signed it. And they have honored the agreement. Good, bad, or indifferent, they have honored it, so they'll probably lean heavily on it. I think, again, you're looking 1 to 2 years out to improve that situation. It's not gonna be a quick one.
Yeah, when that agreement expires next year, I feel like we can really strengthen it.
And this is getting way ahead, but what if DCR is like, no, like, we're basically not gonna do anything else than what the current situation agreement addresses? I mean, we don't need to, maybe.
I feel like Joe's working to figure that out when he's looking at the possible intermunicipal agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you yet.
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
I mean, it doesn't need to be an answer tonight, but I think that's something that if,
Yeah,
DCR
it's something
is
to think
like, we're
about.
doing everything that we are gonna do, we're not gonna do anything else, like, take it or leave it. I don't know what the towns then,
Well, hopefully we're gonna get some relief from Ferguson and Goby, or at least some
Yeah.
options.
that's the goal.
This-
We move on.
If it doesn't, the only thing I can tell you is, they may yield to political pressure, I don't know. So that may be the best way to go.
Okay,
thank you.
this
Thanks
is
for everything you've been doing on it.
amazing. Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Are you
Anything
Joe.
else I can answer for you? About Public Works, about,
Curbside repair, Joe, are you gonna, is there a time of the year, process, plan? I've had constituent call about, curbside repair from the plow damage, taking out the
The berm.
they had berm damage
taking
on,
out the berms. Yeah, it's important to them. Is that something that gets fixed? Is that like, hey, that's a spring project when the plows are off?
You wouldn't want to do it now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but is that on your radar at all?
Yeah,
to
it's on the
go
radar.
Fix the
yeah, we have a
With the
couple
plows
locations
kicked
of berm damage, yep,
spring, summer, fall,
probably the summer.
summertime?
Spring's too unpredictable, I'd say sometime this summer. Yeah, we have the equipment to do the berm repair in-house, so it'll get done.
Thank you.
The best thing I can tell you is to make sure they check in with Public Works, make sure we have a record of the complaint so that we can deal with it accordingly. I forgot to mention view permit. Are you going to touch on view permit at all?
Yeah, I can touch on that in my report.
One of the things about view permit is there's the ability to log complaints. We already paid for the system, so we can log complaints. So
Is it,
we're going to take advantage of that to switch over from paper, so we'll be able,
Yeah. The goal is to have that switch over done by the end of the fiscal year.
great.
so that's a positive for us.
Who,
Alrighty,
who enters the complaints? Staff.
staff,
Yeah.
Okay.
but you'll be able to do it online
And they're
too.
coded, and you can run reports.
Yeah,
Yay, 21st century.
we already paid for that though.
Okay,
All we're doing is,
Catching
it's
up.
just
yeah.
like a module within the software we already bought,
Love it.
so.
Stand there for one more minute. We're gonna go out of order, and we have somebody here, and I wanna get to him too. Snow and ice funds,
Yes,
so that you can go. think
I'll
that's
be
your
here, I just
Oh, you're gonna
want to
stay?
go sit down and have a good drink of water, but you can go
All right,
on.
fine, forget it. Go.
All right.
We'll come back to you. Mike Pantos, I'm going out of order. Under new business, we have an anticipated vacancy of a school committee member. I assume that's why you're here. Would you like to speak?
No, I think
No?
you have my resignation in front of you. I think
Oh.
it speaks to itself.
You don't, okay, we thought maybe you were here to,
No, just thought in case you had any questions,
Okay.
I'd stop in and visit.
thank you.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. All right, so in new business, is that where it is?
Yep.
Okay. If you all pulled it out, we have a filing of a letter of resignation to the town clerk. Mike Pantos is resigning from his elected position on the Bay Path School Committee, Southern Worcester County Regional Vocational School District, effective May 10th, 2019, the day before town meeting. right?
No, before election.
Day before election, excuse me.
That's the Friday prior to the election.
And the day before town meeting too.
Yeah.
2 years remaining on the 3-year seat. And we appreciate that you did it now. I think Anita must have told you, and,
Well, we had conversations with the town clerk.
yeah.
In order to put it on the ballot, this was a cutoff point. That's why I'm here this evening and put forward the resignation so that you folks have the opportunity this evening to vote in order to place it on the ballot.
How long have you been on it?
16 years, May.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 8 years here and 16 there and 2 at Wachusett.
And Mike is what in college now? Is he a senior?
He's out and working.
He's out working. He graduated last year. No. Yes.
No, he was on a 2-year program.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's, as Jeff, as you come by the house, I'm sure you see the service van parked right in front.
I saw him tonight, yeah.
Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah. Next chapter.
Long time. So what I need from a member of the board is a motion to accept the resignation.
Motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Pantos from the school committee with regret.
I'll second that and thank Michael for all the work he's done.
Thank you, Gal. Please keep that in the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, for all your services. I didn't realize it was 16 years.
Yep.
And you did 2 on
2003.
Wachusett also? 2.
I did simultaneously Wachusett and Bay Path for a 2-year period when Wachusett needed, there was no representation.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's another motion on the bottom of Anita's memo to place it on the ballot.
I'll move to authorize the town clerk to add the following position office to the May 13th, 2019 annual town election warrant. The 2-year seat on the southern, a 2-year seat on the Southern Worcester County Regional Vocational School District School Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And through the chair, you'll be receiving our updated budget, which we'll be voting on the first Monday of March. Our school cost bid came in more favorable, so the increase or the anticipated number, which will be affirmed at the March meeting, is anticipated to be about 2.9% increase.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we're looking, again, it's foundation budget only, believe it or not. And Mike, it was a pleasure to have you come out and tour Bay Path, and I hope
Thank you.
it was enlightening for you.
Very. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to talk about what you're doing, that you're submitting your resignation, or? No, I don't know if
Really?
there is anything.
For the whole town?
I don't even know, my position is, has me traveling quite a bit. And also, Joe Becker's son is a freshman at Bay Path. Joe, my wife Amory's up for re-election. Joe's gonna take the 3-year slot, and Amory will be taking out papers to conclude my 2 years.
Wow.
So there'll be 2, at least there'll be some transition to assist, and then hopefully another parent 2 years down the road has the inspiration to go forward for that. As you've seen the numbers, our student population is increasing. Folks are taking advantage of the opportunities that Bay Path has to offer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you guys do. It's been a lot of years behind the bench there, and this is a project, finished project of Bay Path.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you all knew that.
Oh, not?
The students actually built this whole project, as well as the renovations assisted the Rutland Fire Brigade for the old fire station. That was a lot of the plumbing there was done by the students and other type of work there. The wood studio, the complete renovation of the wood studio here in town was done by Bay Path students.
Nice.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of services that come back to the town that we've been able to benefit from for quite a few years.
Do you expect to be at the budget meeting? Have we set a date for that yet?
Not for Bay Path,
No,
yeah.
for finance, okay.
Yeah, I will be there. I hope to be there based on what my travel schedule for work and the meetings set. But I think from what you've experienced from all previous years, the budget is pretty lean, and line item, Mr. Yakabuchi will be here, or Mr. LaFleche, to walk you through the budget process in detail. And again, it's pretty flat budget, 2.9% approximately increase.
You heard we're going up though a lot, right?
Excuse
Because
me?
our numbers went up. I mean, it's for a good reason, but
Well,
it's,
yeah,
it's a big jump.
The enrollment's up.
Yeah.
We have a full bus,
Yep,
which has been quite a few years in the making.
yep.
And the parents have come out in large number to visit the school for Parents' Night or open house, and have taken the opportunities to see what's there.
That would be an interesting number. I bet John LaFleche could get it for you in a minute. For the amount of years that you've been on that school committee, to see Rutland's population go up.
Yeah, I
at
think
Baycott.
when I first joined, I think our numbers were around 18 to 20, and I think we're approaching 37, just about. But that's off the top of my head. We can definitely give you some solid numbers by the time budget time comes around. It's been a lot of change. We've did a $75 million renovation project to the school at 40 years of age. Hadn't been touched prior. And we came in just shy of $1 million under budget, $500,000, under budget, and on time. How's that for a municipal project?
Yeah.
Yeah, Baypath has been a pleasure to deal with, an absolute pleasure.
Have a good rest of the evening. Thank you for taking me out of order.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for what you guys do for the town. So, nice to see you all. Have a great evening.
Hi.
All right,
thank you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike. Thank you. I apologize we didn't take you earlier. Joe started talking and
That's okay. Nice to meet
he
you.
wouldn't stop talking.
That's okay. He's got a lot on his plate. Congratulations and all the best. Good night.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, on to Mike.
I'll try to keep it quick just to make up some time.
Yeah.
Budget updates. We are starting to work with the Finance Committee to schedule this round of budget hearings with the Finance Committee, talking to Tom Rashala, who is the chair of the Finance Committee. We're looking at Thursdays in March for those meetings. They would like to keep it to Thursdays due to the schedules of the members of the Finance Committee. And as those get scheduled, we will let you know. But the idea is that we're going to be starting this Thursday with Wachusett School District and then work on Thursdays up through town meeting.
Where do you meet?
The
The small room.
small room over here.
Should they be posted?
They will be posted, both selectmen,
Okay.
and it won't be a joint meeting because it's a Finance Committee meeting that
just
the
meant-
board can go to. But yeah, they'll be posted as both Abby will do that as she's done in the past.
I guess that's kind of what I meant. Yeah.
If you want to maybe check with the FinCom chair to even post notification that there will be meetings every Thursday night, but the agendas will come out when they come out, when you guys know
Yeah.
which departments, so at least people will know if they want to go.
Okay. Up
Yeah.
next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're not technically set yet, it's a little gray, but
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
fantastic.
we are getting closer to our goal, like Sheila hinted at earlier. So how budget process from how it's gone from start to finish is Bob mid-December sent out the budget request to the department heads and had them due January 30th. So in reality, they were all in by February 2nd. And at that point in time, we were $700,000 in the hole. We're down to $200,000 due to a myriad of things that were felt that could be pushed off until next year, reducing the proposed salary increases from what was asked for to what everyone else is getting, finding, believe it or not, and this is just what happens, typographical errors in the submitted requests. And that has brought us down to a reasonable number. Now, that $202,000 does not include the free cash money that was appropriated in the fall to help supplement this coming budget. Like I said in my interview, the state kind of goes back and forth, leaning towards against using free cash toward an operating budget, but if you need to use it, it's there. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes, I guess, but we're ready to start meeting with them. I can tell you a lot of the boards and commissions requested just a flat budget from last year, so that has been able to help us there. And then just a couple other notable changes is that the planning board has agreed to swap with us, so the town is taking over the portion of David George, the town planner's salary, that the revenue account from the planning board was paying, and in exchange they're going to take over the CMRPC dues that we pay. So different things like that where money is shifting is also helping reduce that number around there, but it's still all being covered in the end. Just to jump down to the MMA 8th grade essay contest, because that should be really quick, is the Massachusetts Municipal Association every year does an essay contest for 8th graders, so we are working with Central Tree to make sure that Rutland students get a chance to participate in that essay contest. And then on the general updates, we did have some minimal wind damage today. A evergreen tree behind the police station fell and landed on the fire department's trailer where they store their rescue equipment, as well as on a tent where they store some equipment there. By the time I came over here, I actually clicked send to send you all a picture of the tree, just so you saw it, but they were already out there with chainsaws cutting it. The tree is now removed, and they're assessing the damage on the inside. The trailer is probably going to have to be rebought, and the tent as well, just because of the holes in the tent. The only other damage that we had was the shingles on the public safety building were flapping a lot today. Now that roof was just put on in November, so there's a question as to whether the temperature was well enough that the glue that holds the shingles onto the roof was able to set. But they overlapped 6 inches, and there was about 6 inches on each shingle that was flapping up right where the peak meets at the top. So once we saw that, I sent Willie around to the different buildings that we own, and there didn't seem to be any major damage on any of them. In fact, the only other damage that we saw was that some of the light covers out here on the walkway in the library were blown off that are now fixed. So that our really only issues with this windstorm were at the public safety building.
The library roof has been okay though, right? Because they were
Yes.
done at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Public safety and the library.
The thing that's saving the library roof here today is the trees that are around it made it so that the snow stayed on top of the shingles. So the snow actually weighed down the shingles enough that they didn't get to blow around, whereas there's no trees except for the one that fell around the public safety building, so all that snow melted off and they were able to have that flexibility there.
Who's making the call to the contractor about the roof repairs needed at the public safety?
It may not need any. We'll go look at it first.
I thought they said shingles visibly fell off.
No, they didn't come off. They were they were
lit,
flapping.
Just like,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a glue on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah,
And when you put the roof on in the summer.
And they're overlapping.
They get sticky.
sure.
Yeah.
And it's because of the timing, it sounds, I talked to the building inspector as well, and
Yeah.
it may be just, we may just have to get a couple more days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Willie is going to take a look at it, but we don't think there's going
Oh,
to be any
The
permanent.
new roof didn't just fly off in pieces.
No, no, no. It
Oh,
just
good.
it looks like the glue didn't set.
Okay.
Is what we were
Keep
trying
an
to
eye
get
on
to.
it.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't answer who would get, I don't know who we'd have fix it.
We
We-
put them on
Willie
notice
would-
just to lock in the
Yeah.
conversation with the,
Yeah. Willie was the
that would
clerk of the
pull that
works
money down.
for that project.
I mean, not officially, but we asked him to.
Exactly. Yeah. So he does know who to contact and can stay in contact with that person if need be. The police department did put out a press release last week regarding an accident that we had here in town. We were notified by the family that while the young man who was in the accident is still in the ICU unit, he is doing better, and it's showing large improvements there. So
Good.
just because you guys were made aware of that, I figured I'd give you guys an update on that as well. And then to touch on the view permit concept that Joe talked about earlier, last year during a town meeting, I don't know if it was in the fall or the spring, the town appropriated money and got a grant from the state to get view permit software. And what that is residents can apply online for any town permit, building permit, health permit, things like that. And it basically gets sent in an email database system to whoever needs to sign off, the fire department, the police department, Joe at the DPW, planning board, so on from there. We worked with Director Moriarty, and we were able to get a couple tablets, so that anyone who applies for these permits online, if an inspector goes out to inspect, they can pull up the database right there on the tablet and just take care of it all right there, rather than having to write it on a legal pad, go back and type it into a computer there. It's all just said and done there. And we're working with CM Geeks to see what the cost would be to get a computer that's shut down for everything but view permit, and basically set up a kiosk station in the town hall. That way, if someone doesn't know how to do it on their own in their home, they can come to town hall, fill out the online permit there, and if they need assistance, they can just go next door into the building department and they can ask how to fill that out there. So just a way of easing access to the public and to applying that and reducing the amount of paper we buy and go through. And because if someone messes up, now they have to fill out a whole new application. So my update there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. New business. We have the Soul Systems LLC Limited Site Access Agreement and Owner Questionnaire. There are 3 copies to sign. Mike, did you want to give a high
Sure.
level?
The RDIC is working with Soul Systems to put in a solar field up at the Heights property. They have to go and inspect the property visually to make sure that while the panels themselves are not being put on the old dump property from the state hospital, it is still considered a brownfield, so they just have to make sure and test that everything is going okay up there before they actually put the panels in the ground, because they don't want to be liable should any contamination be found later and then make it seem like it's the panel's fault. The land has already been remediated. It's just part of their due diligence that they have to do before they put them in the ground. So that is the limited access site allows them to go on the property with a representative of RDIC to tour the property without worrying about trespass. The questionnaire is, I like to call it in lieu of a public records request. It's basically asking us, do you have any documents related to this property regarding remediation? Do you have any documents related to this property regarding any work that's being done, so on from there, and if so, are you willing to share them with the developer? So that's all the questionnaire is there. All of those documents were made by Weston and Sampson, and we have them too, and we can just say see attached and go from there. So all I'm looking for here is the limited access agreement needs to be signed by the board, and then I just need to be authorized to submit the questionnaire that's an in lieu of a public records request. And the only reason why an authorization is needed is because it's in lieu of a public records request, which would normally go through the records access officer.
These 3 copies say the Wheeler Road site.
Yes, because so it's the same company that's doing both. That's a good correction, because I did misspeak on that one. It's the same company that's doing both the Wheeler Road site and the Heights property. We need to sign the one that allows them onto the Wheeler Road property. The RDIC signed the agreement to get them onto the Heights property. Thank you. I misspoke there.
Could I get a motion to sign 3 originals of the limited site access agreement for Soul Systems at Wheeler Road?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
And do we need to make a motion to authorize Mike to fill out the owner questionnaire?
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Arrowhead Drive easements.
These were submitted to us by Attorney Everett, Sharon Everett from KP Law, for Arrowhead Drive. Basically, these are all new lots that were on roads that were accepted by the town at fall town meeting. And the state statute says that within 190 days of when the town accepts the roads, we need to file any easements that we have on the property. So this is a utility easement to allow us onto the property should any work need to be done on those lines, as part of the road acceptance process where the town accepted those roads in November.
So these documents have not yet been executed by the owner.
Correct.
Does that need to happen first?
Not that I'm aware of.
So we can sign them and send it over to the owner?
Yes, because the owner is also signing a separate agreement. There's the granting of an easement, and then there's the allowing of the easement. So we're exchanging contracts that we'll each need to sign at some point in time. So this is the one that starts with the town and then goes to the developer. The developer will then send us the one that starts with the developer and goes to the town, and we'll have that on the next
Okay.
meeting agenda.
I only have one question.
Yep.
On page 2, second full paragraph down, which is a small paragraph. Basically, it's, any area disturbed by the town's exercise of the rights granted herein shall be restored. It says to its original condition. Shouldn't that be condition at the time of disruption? Because I could read that as
I
if
see
we
what
do
you're
this
saying
10
now,
years
yeah.
from now, they're gonna want it brought back to what it was right now.
I see what you're saying now, yeah.
Semantics, I don't know. It's just a question.
Yeah, give me a new bridge, right? Is that where the bridge is?
If you're that concerned, you take a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, the intent is if somebody has lawn there, you put lawn there. It's, but
Yeah. The semantics.
It's just the question. I don't know that it's.
Yeah. The semantics, the way I look at it is, I understand completely what you're saying.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Just-
The way my understanding, as someone who's not an attorney, I'll say that, is that it's
The condition at the time.
at the time of it is, yeah.
Alright. I just
On-
thought I'd ask it.
I would like to know what that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
What are you recommending, Mike?
I would recommend signing it. I will say on the back page too, just for clarification, I am a notary public, so if you guys sign that, I can notarize that.
Oh, nice. Good to know.
Just because Anita's not here and you need to witness the signature.
Oh, good to know.
I have a question. Wayne, was your question about that because in the recent past, we've had questions as to the condition of what it should be brought to?
Well, we had issues.
Up at
There was some
Wheeler
easement
Road.
issues on Wheeler Road.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
There's some tree issues.
washing issues.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my question is, again, is it semantics? Bring it back to the original condition. Again, what if it's 10 years down the road
Right.
and things have changed in the last 10 years? And somebody goes, hey, it says original condition. It was like that. Just because it was like that yesterday doesn't mean it wasn't like that originally.
Yeah.
Well, what do the other
So-
subdivisions say? This is not the first one we've ever seen, right? Or should have seen. What's the standard wording for all the other ones that we've taken on?
Yeah, this is what needs to be signed here, but I think they're coming down from the back. I'm sorry, Jeff, I missed that. What was that?
What's the standard wording for all the other subdivisions that we've granted the easements for?
Off the top of my head, I'm not aware, just because it's the first one that's come up since I've been here. I can look into that if you'd like.
No,
Um,
no.
You just wanna be consistent.
yeah.
Yeah, if it's consistent,
Yeah.
for Wayne's concern.
The deadline that these need to be filed is March 19th. So that's why Attorney Everett wanted to get these to the board. Basically, as soon as she was done writing them, they came to us, and now they're here with you.
And she was good with this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
good with
but
it, you're good with it.
Well, but if we have clarifications, we have a little bit of time, it's fine, we
Yeah.
can hold off another meeting and sign them at the next meeting. Yeah, it's a valid question, I don't know how else you would phrase it, though. They're not gonna take pictures. Who's taking the pictures?
Well, I would say condition at time of disruption.
Yeah, that's.
Condition
You dug
it.
it up that day.
Yeah.
A lot of
Bring it back to the
permits-
condition it was that day.
Because it also includes the pumping station, right? The pumping house? Isn't there one down there at the bottom of the hill?
I don't know if it's on Arrowhead or not, is it?
I don't know.
Probably is. I don't know.
It's in that area, I mean, you're gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne has a good point.
Did you look at these,
We can ask.
Joe? No, I don't need to look at them now. Did you look at these?
Just wanna see what they-
Oh, he's like, I don't know.
I'm not Superman, I can't see them from there.
We thought you were, that's why we hired you.
Tomorrow.
Seriously?
Same one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
Yeah, look at the plans that they recorded,
You did look at the plans?
yeah. But the
'Cause-
the plans that
My
they-
question is in this paragraph right here.
Because to your point, the recorded plans are from '06. We're
Mhm.
going back a long way with these,
Mhm.
from a CALIC plan, so.
Yeah, it's a valid point.
Return for the easements, I, believe it or not, I've they reference the plans. I
Yep.
haven't looked at the actual drawings.
Yeah.
It says as nearly as possible.
In return for the easements described here, the town agrees that any area disturbed by the town's exercise of rights granted here within restored to its original condition. Spends in the town, grantor agrees.
As nearly as possible.
I mean, you're trying to protect the town, right?
Town, yeah.
I
Yeah,
would hope. Okay,
Somebody,
good.
somebody come in and say they want something outrageously done.
make
Yeah.
it look like it did in,
2006.
If we, yeah, I get it. If we have asphalt
can't-
curbing now, but we end up upgrading to granite,
Mm.
and someone makes an issue and then replaces the granite with asphalt type thing.
Something like that.
Yeah. I can talk to Sharon,
yeah.
Attorney Everett, about it.
We've got some time.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
She's on vacation this week, so it won't be till next week that we get an answer on that. But we can wait on it. We've got.
Yeah.
Hold
It
for
doesn't need
next
to be
meeting.
right away.
Right.
Good catch, Wayne.
Yeah.
The other thing, when I did look at it, Wayne, it's not the whole Arrowhead, I don't think, it's a portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my memory from looking at the drawings. I usually assume that they need the sewage treatment,
Yeah.
I don't know that either.
Okay.
That's fine.
So we'll have time to get you those answers. Are you ready to talk about snow and ice, or do you want
Sure. What would you like to talk about? So,
to? It's on our agenda. I'm assuming you need more money.
we do. We use all the money.
Okay.
So
We just, and most, it's going to salt and sand.
what
Skip. Would you like to make the motion?
What?
to authorize Joe to
Right.
deficit spend?
The definite spend, why not? Hey, Joe, I make a motion, you authorize you to definite spend as much as you want. Buy a new truck and whatever.
We'll amend that slightly to authorize deficit spend the snow and ice account.
Whatever you want, Joe.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Well, thank you.
Get a new truck on the snow and ice.
Oh my God.
Sure, a couple
I,
of
Sand?
I think it's been done, so.
Love it.
The way you worded it, sure it could.
Abby.
Is everybody okay? Do we need Abby to reread that? Are we good?
You're all set, Mabby, aren't you?
Yes.
So, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Look at that. There you go. You can now order more salt. And, oh, good.
The
You could
Yeah.
try the beet derivative stuff. Because Skip gave you carte blanche.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The beach stuff doesn't work that great,
It doesn't?
no.
Oh, that's too bad.
the ironic thing is I got a call from the Worcester Telegram the morning before the snowstorm started, asking how we were with our snow and ice report. I pulled up the expense report because they were doing a story on how different municipalities are doing on their snow and ice accounts. So they called.
Slow news day.
They called Gardner, and then they called here, and I pulled up the expense report, and I was like, oh, well, according to this, we're 58% done. That's a good place for this time of year. It's fine. And then Joe called me up the next day. He goes like, so I saw the thing in the paper, but we used the
Send an email. Send it
yeah. He goes, but we used the rest of it last night. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's nothing.
no.
Hey, you never told us about your California friend.
Oh, still in the route. Yeah, our box was sent. His box was sent. It hasn't been received yet.
What?
Yeah.
What did he send it by Pony Express?
Well, it was sent last week. He was still gathering all the stuff.
Let us know.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll
Go
do.
and tell.
Yeah, we'll do.
Great.
Excellent. All right, so
Well, thank you.
thank you.
We did, when we laid out a capital plan, sometime in the next couple of years, we should probably try and add a salt shed. Because what we're able to keep on hand does limit what we can do. We've come close, we've almost run out a couple times this season, so it'd be nice to have a little bit more on hand.
So-
Sounds like a city question.
Well, you could have had it a minute ago if you just listened
I
to
know.
this.
Yeah, but see,
First motion gave you carte blanche
the
to do
big
that.
problem is you got no place to put it unless you get rid of some of this crap you got out in the back of that building.
I have no problem with that either.
Okay, just push it over the bank and make it a parking lot for
Oh.
for the baseball people.
Don't you dare.
Hey, why not?
Look at him,
Big
he's
fill,
probably already
got a
done
lot of
it.
fill in there like they did a couple, never
Big
mind.
fan of decrapping, but I don't know if I go that way. But seriously, I did,
Can you put that in minutes? That was good.
It's late. Everybody's like,
I don't think this
Like
is
this.
how Worcester City Council meetings go.
this is a random aside. How's the new loader?
fine, thank you,
It looks good.
yeah.
Everybody, it's working well?
Yeah, we haven't had
Wait.
trouble with the new loader,
Loader or the
The
little
new loader?
sidewalk
The
machine?
sidewalk
Loader.
thing. Sorry,
no.
the
Oh,
sidewalk thing.
holder.
He
Holder!
apparently he got a loader too, but he skipped
Well,
holding
you
to
got
buy
a loader,
anything.
you know, that's,
Sorry.
I
I
know.
want your old one.
No, I just went
I don't know. I don't know what they do in Worcester, but you
I just
can.
went through the whole equipment list. We have 3
Oh.
loaders.
Oh.
And one of them is almost, it's only about a
Yeah,
year.
it's almost new. Yeah.
Um,
The sidewalk thing. That's the
the holder.
the holder.
The holder.
That's the manufacturer's name from, it's a German name and
Okay.
made in Canada. It's
Yeah.
doing very well.
It's a nice looking machine. I saw it going down the sidewalk.
The other one was real tired.
Oh, yeah.
So has the other one been retired?
It's part of that stuff out back.
It is. So it's been
Yeah, not quite yet, soon.
okay.
It's in the graveyard in the back of the.
It's on the way out.
Somebody will buy it.
It may. There's not much left to it though. It's real tired.
All right. So you didn't try to hold it together with duct tape and use it as a secondary machine. We're done.
We're done.
We're done. All right.
It's lived a good life.
That
We've
the
already
duct
held
tape's
together.
been on it for a while already.
Yeah.
Bubble gum.
Yeah.
Bubble gum.
And not the good kind.
Baling wire.
Okay.
That's it.
Onward.
Wire.
Town warrant's getting late. Town warrant schedule. You had that in your new business, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, in your new business folder. So this is pretty typical for what we usually do.
The
it-
days all shifted one day earlier to just account for the way the calendar changed this year.
Okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, Chief.
I think the biggest thing we need to talk about, at least tonight, or not the biggest, but please note that if we open the warrant, the right here, the schedule to close it would be for Friday, April 5th.
Open it when?
We could open it tonight.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I mean, the opening of the warrant just allows our department heads to start putting in articles, for us to start gathering them. It allows for any petitioned articles to begin to come in, and everybody has up until Friday, April 5th at noon to get their warrant articles in.
And that gives us enough time then to set the warrant, the month and a half.
It's tight. It gives us a couple of meetings. We probably might need to have one extra meeting, particularly if things come in and we're not sure how to structure it. Obviously, last year discussions with the FinCom were going back and forth regarding debt exclusion. So that's typically what will hold it up to see what we want to put on the ballot, if anything.
Well, we got some bylaw proposals
Mm-hmm.
kicking around there based on a Wednesday night meeting.
Yeah.
We also have lingering from the last fall, the open container / open marijuana
Yep.
that we haven't spoken to Peter Atal
Mm-hmm.
yet. So, I mean, is this April 5th? It's going to come up real quick.
Yes.
Are we cutting ourselves short when we don't need to? Should we start at the next meeting or tonight?
Oh, no. I mean, opening it tonight is fine. It doesn't change anything to what you're talking about, because even though we close the warrant, technically we can still add things. So we've closed the warrant to the community.
public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's fine.
I'll make a motion that, I guess the motion.
To adopt this.
To
schedule.
adopt the Board of Selectmen Spring 2019 Town Meeting Calendar, including opening the warrant tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Hey,
Aye.
Okay.
Do you need, you have this, we don't need to reference all the dates,
We
right?
don't, but just for the record, for anybody watching, that means that tonight the warrants have been open for both the special town meeting for Saturday, May 11th at 6, and the annual town meeting for Saturday, May 11th at 7 o'clock. Those warrants will close to the public for submissions on Friday, April 5th at 12 noon. The last day to register to vote for the annual town meeting and election is April 20th.
Well, they put this up on the town warrant, up
Yeah.
on the town website anyway.
Excellent. All right, also in your folder, you have a letter of support. This is pretty much an annual letter that we send to DCR as one of the member towns that has the rail trail going through it. Wachusett Greenways has been relatively successful getting grants each year from DCR in order to maintain and expand the trail network.
Need a motion for you to sign?
Yes, please.
Motion for the chair to sign the letter drafted to Amanda Lewis of DCR referencing the Wachusett Greenways as written.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, oh,
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Next, old business.
I oppose,
Jeff
but
Stilling.
that's
Good stuff.
What?
I said I oppose, but that's all right. She got that.
4-1. You
That's
oppose
right.
the letter of support for the state to give
That's-
us money for the rail trail?
That's right.
Okay.
Because they're gonna come right back at us when town warrant isn't wanting more money from us, so. Sick and tired of giving.
Okay.
Wait till they ask you to get down here with town equipment and work on it. That's not gonna happen while I'm sitting here.
Jeff?
All right, great. So, Pinewood Derby. We kicked it about, was it last meeting? The one before. So now we're at the point where Mike and crew put together a very nice proclamation requesting that the day of the Pinewood Derby, March 9th, 2019, to be recognized as Pinewood Derby Day in the town of Rutland. And this would be, if the board approves, would be something that would be read at the, I wonder if it's one, is it pack 141 or is the other pack involved too?
For this Pinewood Derby?
Yeah,
pretty
this
sure
is the 141
141
only.
was what
Okay.
was in the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, yeah. All right. So the proclamation right here, we can start with that. Can I make the formal motion at this time?
Absolutely.
So I'd like to make the formal motion that the board approve this proclamation, which declares Saturday, March 9th, 2019, to be PAC 141 Pinewood Derby Day in the town of Rutland, in recognition of the work being done by the PAC to prepare future leaders of our town, Commonwealth, and state. So,
Excellent. Do I have a
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you for signature. So can I continue on that topic of the Pinewood Derby?
Is there more?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a wee bit. So the car is ready. You guys got a little peek at it. It's gonna represent the select board car. Don't go anywhere, Wayne. I do need a little something from
I
you.
was gonna say, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, you weren't here at the last meeting. So the night before is the check-in day, the weigh-in? The
Yes,
weigh-in,
the
if you
weigh-in.
will, Mike.
Yep.
So that's also at the Naquag, and then the official Pinewood Derby, open to the public, is going to be the next day, March 9th, starts at 10 o'clock. So, can I also talk to the board about the plaque idea? I asked to have that put on kind of as an add-on.
Yeah, it was after the agenda had to be submitted.
Is it about the Pinewood Derby?
Well, it's done with the same Pinewood Derby paint and leftovers of the, and leftover scraps of what I built the car out of.
Let's circle back. Let's have you do perambulation.
Okay, so,
Because it's not about Pinewood Derby, right?
It's a
Yeah,
plaque for Pinewood Derby.
It is?
Yeah, it's a plaque
No.
for,
no.
no, I
it's
wanted to
unrelated.
talk about a plaque for Bob, or some sort of recognition from the board for Bob Reed.
Yeah, I feel like that would fall into the whole unanticipated.
Last page right here,
on
other
the-
business,
Yeah.
listing matters reasonably
All right, fine.
anticipated by the chair.
Well, let's do all of our
do you
anticipated things, then we're gonna
Okay.
get back to you.
Thank you. Not to be difficult. Perambulation, going very well. I've been busy. I've had a formal meeting. I was a special guest inspector and presenter at PAC 141 Den 1 at their meeting. We whipped out the map there and found that based on the review of available reports, there should be about 34 stones. Wow. 34 town stones that mark not so much corners, but the town boundaries in there. So, PAC 141 Den 1 is all on board, very excited. I also spoke with the other PAC, forgive me, I forget the number,
something.
306, I believe.
Something like that.
They're on board also, and I met with the leadership of the Rutland Girl Scouts at the leadership meeting, and they're all on board. So this Thursday, and I copied you, Mike.
Yes.
I would like to have access to the annex to sit down and meet with, unless we can get in here now that I know that you guys are here, maybe we'll change it to here.
Yeah,
But I want to
just-
meet with the leadership of Girl Scouts and the two different packs, and we have the map, and of the 34, it'd be the time to divvy out the responsibilities for identifying those. And we've also done some advanced research in there for maybe some of the older scouts that may want to do something more towards the presentation angle at the end.
Will
So-
you be with them at all 34 stones?
Yes.
Good.
So, well, Yes, and so once we find out who's on board, that was the other thing that I would like to advance to the board here, is that the law says that the board select a perambulator, which you did for myself, and any assistant, right? So anything worth doing is worth overdoing, in my mind. What I would like to do is, once we identify the different packs that want to do, is to put them on a roster or a memo or a sheet, or maybe even get them little cards, make them assistant town perambulators for this inspection in there. We talk about the importance of the painting and the recording of the actual report. And some of the reports that I did go back to, and I did some research, there's a book out there, in 1863, the gentleman wrote a book about the history of Rutland in there. And in that, it listed the founding members on there. And did you guys know that in 1722, when the town was created, a stone's throw from here was the very first law enforcement officer. His name was Moses Howe, H-O-W, without the E. And he's buried between here and the old fire barn in there. So, and they got a picture of his old stone in there, right? So why is that important? Because he and his wife, I forget her name, forgive me, gave birth to the firstborn male son in Rutland, who became what? A Minuteman, one of 50 Minutemen that the town put forward in there, right? So, and who was young Moses? A selectman. And not only was he the first constable in the town, he was also a selectman.
It's like karma that you were chosen to
And here we
do
are,
this.
2019 with
I-
the paint,
You're
you
gonna
know?
have, he's gonna have enough for his own book when he's done with it.
Expect a circle back on Mr. Moses Howe. I did flip that to the chief, and I said, hey, we identified our first Leo in here. Next time we do Veterans Day, and he was also a veteran, because he was a captain
Minuteman.
or a lieutenant. Everybody had a title, militia title. The next time we do Veterans Day, law enforcement, some sort of public safety day, I think we need to circle back and talk about some sort of blue wreath, blue ribbon on there.
I did appreciate the play on words, saying that just a stone's throw
I know.
from here.
Play on words.
I'm afraid to suggest this, because you've done
Yeah.
so much already, but did you reach out to the Historical Society? They're totally gonna,
We're not there yet. No,
Okay.
I did not.
All right. You're gonna wanna be,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, in on this.
Well, I'm looking for helpers first, identify the stone, and this will be, I set a timeline for March, when the snow starts to melt. But I was surprised to learn that, based on the reports, there should be up to 34 stones. We were originally thinking 6 to 8 or something like that, so.
I think he's gonna have to ask for some, time of the town moderator at town meeting. He might be done by,
Maybe,
right?
maybe,
Something to think about.
so. Anyway, so that's it. So it's going good, we're having fun, we're gonna do good things.
Awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
That was a good update. Okay,
Go Scouts.
all right, last thing on the agenda is the Center Tree Bar and Grill license, I believe on Monday.
Yes.
Monday. They got their liquor license from the state. Town is rejoicing.
Yeah.
So,
When are they opening?
I think in 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah. That's what I reached out to congratulate them, and they said 2 weeks. I actually suggested that we were meeting tonight, and that didn't go over well.
I saw that they're hiring, that they're having a big
They
hiring
are, yeah, I think
fair,
that was today.
like
Or
this week,
Thursday, maybe?
Wednesday and Thursday maybe. So if anybody's looking for a job,
Yeah.
And I
stop
think
in.
They're doing the pouring for the 5K for the law enforcement. Yeah, so they're getting right into it.
I believe we
Good.
already voted to sign this, correct?
Yes.
So, I'm gonna pass this around.
We just need to sign it.
We just need to sign it. So this is now their common vic license for an ABC, all alcoholic beverages, to be drunk on premises.
Are you sure we voted? Because there was one that we voted on, and one we stepped back because we were pending ABC.
So we voted on this, but we were gonna hold the signatures until,
Until the ABCC.
Hold,
yeah, we needed the number.
is there any benefit to throw another motion just in case? Because we want to be able to get our,
No, go
No, we
ahead.
just needed the number. Instead of writing it up in pen, we wanted to be able to put it in type.
Yeah. I think the reason we made the motion last time was because there was really no clear day of when the ABCC would come through. If it had come through really fast, they might have gotten it a week ago. We could have signed it before this, but.
Great.
Okay.
That's it.
Matters not reasonably anticipated by the
I'll be
chair
brief.
48 hours ago, really?
will be
Okay.
brief.
Okay.
and I thank the board.
Is this really a matter for the board? Is it something we can talk about?
It is,
We
because
do.
I would like
No.
Nah, we decided we're gonna.
Is that
keep
why you're
one.
still here, so you can see the
I
car
wanna
after
keep that one close
the
to
cameras are gonna have
vest,
to be off for anybody to see the car.
though. Aren't you a competitor, Joe?
Oh.
That's why he wanted to see the car.
Oh,
So using
we're
some
about-
of the leftovers from the Pinewood project, specifically paint, miscellaneous wood. Don't touch it, still a little sticky. Came up with some extra parts. And I think it would be nice if we did some sort of recognition for Bob Reed, right? He served us well, he came in and, yeah, he served us well, right?
yep, he did.
So, I got this to present to you guys. You can read it, Wayne.
That is actually, you purchase it on Amazon. Is if you want to give a gavel to someone, you can wrap it
That's
around
the wrap
the
for
center
the
here.
gavel, right?
Oh, and then you just screw the handle
screw
right
the
through
handle,
these two
yeah,
here.
So some ideas
you
moving
see it?
forward. For the board, if we wanted to issue a recognition to anybody, you know, young man going into the Air Force Academy, for example, if we wanted to recognize a big achievement, a retirement or something like that, these are easily obtainable. And then with the gold Sharpie, we could all handwrite a good luck signature, things like that. Or, another option for the board, we could have any memento written right there. If you want to do the traditional key to the town, things like that, these are just standard. I got this at Jerry's Hardware, painted it with my leftover Pinewood tape. And I could set this in there, and then each member could do a little pleasantry in there. So I would like to offer a recognition for Bob Reed. It says, presented to Bob Reed, interim town administrator, with our appreciation and respect, the Rutland Select Board. And I don't have a preference either way, the gavel or the key to the town. But
The gavel.
you like the gavel, Skip?
Yeah, I do.
Hmm.
Do you like any of these woods right here?
How about both?
Let's put a pin in that. Make your motion. Make the motion.
To award Bob
To
a
award-
recognition.
Bob, a recognition plaque.
I would like to make a motion that the board recognize and issue former interim town administrator Bob Reed a plaque of appreciation.
Second.
Great.
Hi.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Excellent. I think the decision about the choices, we can leave to a social situation. I don't think it needs to be,
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think that needs to be voted on.
Okay.
We can
No.
figure that out. And
And just moving forward, I think, you know, for future recognitions, I think, like the proclamation is good.
are you
It's
ready
something that
to,
we could have ready to,
are you
at
re-
the ready.
are you ready to do all this painting? Because I don't know that any,
I've got floorboards.
I know
Yeah.
you've got, I know he has them all ready.
But just to have something at the ready for special recognitions, I think it's
That's awesome.
something to have.
It's very
I
nice.
like it.
It's very nice.
Okay, thank
Very
you.
thoughtful.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for everything you do.
Yeah, likewise.
Is there anything else to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.